furniture has that yellow.
A round of applause for AV. Thank you all so much. Buenos días y bienvenidos, mi gente. Welcome to All Souls, where love is the spirit of our community. Whether you're joining us in person or online, in the present or catching up with us later, know that you matter to this community. In this time of great division, may you find hope, love, and community here. I invite you now to please rise in body or spirit to greet your neighbor with your name and your pronouns, and folks online, please introduce yourselves in the chat.
Verses 1, 2, and 4. The days be dark with storms, and burdens weigh my heart. Though troubles wait at every turn, I know I can go on. When sorrow heals my soul, and burdens make me strong. Though troubles wait at every turn, I know I can go on. Though the journey's long, the destination is near. Though troubles wait at every turn, I know I can go on.
Good morning. I'm Asa Smith. My pronouns are he, him, and I will be serving as your worship associate for today's service, along with Marlene McCampbell's pronouns are she, her, and together with Nancy Olson, Director of Congregational Life and Faith Formation, pronouns she, her, Reverend Katie, our Senior Minister, whose pronouns are she, Aya, and Liz Elsmore, Music Director, pronouns she, her. We are your worship team on the chancel today. People of all ages are joyfully welcomed in the service, but nursery care is available if that option works best for you. I invite everyone to please consider filling out a connection card. It looks like this, comes in many different colors. This card is a great way to let us know if you would like support, need assistance, have new contact information, or have an interest, comment, or question. Please place it in the offering basket during the offering.
And a huge thank you to everyone who helped make Bev Evans service extraordinary yesterday. I think total, we probably had around 80 people because people just sort of came in and out throughout the service, and it was just an incredible, incredible experience. It was exactly what Bev wanted. You all always show up to honor people how they want to be remembered, and yesterday was another great example of that, including the purple hair, which I know some are still sporting today. So we do have a chalice lighter who is a birthday person, and they'll be coming up in just a little bit, but there's a couple of other birthday shout outs I want to do right now. And the first is the 16th birthday for Storm. Happy birthday. And also, he's strategically not here yet because we know how much he loves to be the center of attention, but he will be here later. Please wish John Murphy a happy birthday. We are going to have a pitch-in and a workshop after service, so please go straight into the social hall after service, and the board will be leading us through an experience. It's also a great time to ask questions. I'd like to give you an update about our AC. The comedy never ends. So, the one working AC unit apparently somehow invited a mouse to make a nest. And the mouse chewed the wires, and the wires blew the circuit. So, there's only humor left for this. So it doesn't make any sense when the unit's going to be ripped out in 2 weeks as we start installing our new HVAC to fix that AC unit. So dress, like you're in Florida. T-shirts, flip-flops, be comfy the next few weeks until we get the AC back up and running with our new HVAC, which probably may take until June. So I just hydrate, be ready for it. We may bring back the temporary units we used last year until the new HVAC is in, but it didn't make good sense to spend a bunch of money to fix what the mouse did. Yeah. We are a welcoming congregation. That's exactly right. And I mean, they're so cute. Have you ever seen, they have those big ears, they're adorable. When they're not eating our wires. Or in our house. Yeah. Or in your house, yeah. As we continue our time together, let us acknowledge the land itself and those who've sustained it throughout the generations. We are upon the unceded land of the Lenape, Miamia, Kaskaskia, Shawnee, and Kickapoo people, who were pushed from their land and whose children have been stolen for generations. As we strive to be a community of justice, may we continue to find ways to make real reparations. Together, we'd like to offer you these words by the Reverend Julian Jamaica Soto. I'm going to hold your hand while I say this. You are beloved.
You belong where you are safe, where you are witnessed, where you are held. It doesn't matter what they tell you. This is not too much to ask.
And if the calamity of these days, their entire disaster, weighs heavy on your body, please sit down, drink a glass of water slowly. Remember that it is from the body of the earth that she
holds us, keeps us alive. The toxic breath of a carceral state seeks to steal your oxygen, your life. You mustn't ever let it. You must instead
be from where you are. Press your feet, if your feet allow, into the ground beneath. And if not, reach out just how you must. We must sustain one another now. The longer exhale that tells our bodies that we roll on. We can be that.
They cannot take it, though they will try. Hold on. Remember this, the darkness, though it will try, cannot put out the thinnest thread of light. If you can, you must shine. If you cannot, take the hand nearest yours. We move together.
And it was indeed Arthur's birthday this week. And Arthur is coming up to light our chalice. Thank you, Arthur. This ritual of lighting our chalice, it reminds us to continually renew our promise, to live into our covenant, to put love into action, and to be this community of love and justice that we surely aim to be. So if you would please rise in body or spirit as we share the words that are printed in your order of celebration. We will speak the words in Spanish first, and if you're with us online, please let us know where you are lighting your chalice from. El amor es el espíritu de esta iglesia, y el servicio es su ley, vivir juntos en paz, buscar la verdad en el amor, y ayudarnos unos a otros. Este es nuestro pacto. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. This is our covenant. And if you like, you can stay standing. We're going to have a little, I forgot I don't have my Manana mic on. I can't leave this. And I would like to invite the families, the kiddos and their parents up with whatever choir members want to join us. Yeah, well, no, because I'll be all right. Thank you. Yeah, I'll be good. I'm not going to be here this long. Come on up and join the choir. Arthur, Colin, come on up and sing This Little Light of Mine. We're going to be singing This Little Light of Mine. Come on up. Okay, I'm going to be down there leading with some hand motions, but the choir and our families are going to be doing the singing. Okay, Ada, are you coming up with us? Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Let it shine, let it shine, let
please join me in taking a few moments to note that which is currently bringing joys or sorrow to our community. Let us hold a moment of silence together for the joys and sorrows in our hearts and throughout the world that have gone unnamed.
May all prayers be answered and all hearts be restored. We have a big joy, sorrow today. The Scrementis are having their last Sunday with us before their move. Yeah. Well, this is a good move in so many ways. What, 3 minutes if you hit the lights right to Laurel's house? For many of us, it feels like a part of us is moving. Jim and Betty, your fingerprints are quite literally in this building. You will always be here. And for folks who don't know, your WISE board a couple of years ago recognized that sometimes life calls us on, but All Souls is always in our hearts. And in the past, members have had to move because of changing health status or families that needed support, but remained connected to All Souls as best they could. And there were times when those members would pass and their families would say, you know, we want to have the service at All Souls because they're All Souls members, but they weren't members anymore. And your WISE board said, we should have a member emeritus status. This status recognizes members who have All Souls, that loving spirit in their hearts. They have demonstrated commitment to All Souls. Their connection to All Souls is not dependent on their capacity to give, of time, talent, treasure, because sometimes we hold All Souls, and sometimes All Souls holds us. Usually, it's a combination of both. And in recognition of all the love that Betty and Jim have poured into this community, they are also members emeriti. It's emeriti. Jim and Betty, there are not enough words to convey our love and our continued commitment to you, but the congregation has something small, and Asa will bring it to you, a token of the love and affection for your new home, something that you can look at and know that you're stuck with us. And every time you light it, spoiler alert, every time you light that chalice, know that we are connected. Yay! And the choir has a gift for you as well. That was beautiful. Thank you. How are y'all? Okay. All right. Yeah, it's been a week. It's been a week, hasn't it? I'm really present to the 8 to 12 hour period when we were on the brink of World War this week, and to the knowing that folks' nervous systems might be shot, like just might have had it. So I want to invite us, before we really get into things, to just do a couple of somatic practices. You might remember these from a couple of weeks ago. One of the quickest ways to settle your nervous system is to just notice what's in front of you, notice what's to the left, spot an object, notice what's to the right, notice what's behind you. You can also touch 5 things and just notice, like, this material is strangely rough, or maybe the seat is nice and smooth. And take a deep breath. Employing somatic practices throughout the day, throughout the week, is not negotiable. And if we want to have another in-service about different ways to regulate your nervous system and center quickly, I'm here for it. Email me, come see me, I'll set something up after service. It won't take long, and you'll leave feeling better than when you came in. But I want to make sure we're all practicing those things regularly. And these hard things are happening in the presence of, like, great joys too, right? Like, there's also cool things happening in the world. There's sunshine and flowers and spring. And we get to enjoy those and bring joy in with the presence of what's difficult. We can hold both. I also want to be explicit that this is your building. You don't just have to come here on Sundays, or if you're coming for a group. If you're having a day and you want to come sit in the sanctuary, come sit in the sanctuary, light a candle. If you think you'll leave the space, please use an LED. But this space is here for you. You know, we have coffee machines strategically placed in multiple spaces in this building. Fix yourself a cafecito. Have a sip. Be in your spiritual home. This is not just a space to come when you have to be. This is a space to come when you want to feel surrounded by the love of this community. And if it's a day when you say, you know, I think things are reaching a fever pitch, Rev Katie, and maybe we ought to have a vigil, then we will have a vigil. ¿Entendiste? Okay. You don't have to wait for me to say, we are calling a vigil. You can reach out to me. You can reach out to leadership. We create community. And what's in your heart matters. Now, we are gonna talk today about joy and finding our light in community. And also, we are gonna talk about some hard things. Now, I looked back at my very first sermon, my first 2 sermons that I ever gave this congregation in 2022. And part of what drove me there is because on April 8th, the formal announcement, April 8, 2022, the formal announcement came out that I was selected as your candidate for ministry. It's 4 years. It's 4 years ago. We're starting our 5th year together in August, which is so exciting. And when I looked back on those 2 May sermons, something that came up over and over again, there were 2 things really. The first is that love is the spirit of this community. And I told you then, I've told you since, and I'm going to say it again, when I interviewed anyone who would take my call, going back decades, about this congregation, everyone said how loving you all were, and as if you paid them, they will always do the hard thing. Because if it's the right thing to do, they will do hard things. So many people said that. And I was like, it's like they even use the same words. It was really interesting to me. And you've proven that to me every day that I've been here. This is a community of love and integrity. Of this, I have zero doubt. I have every confidence. You can give yourselves a round of applause because you're amazing. Can we do that? Love on yourselves a little bit? Thank you. I think it's especially important to talk about being loving and having integrity in these times when integrity seems optional for some people in power. So every time you do the right thing, just because it's the right thing and no one else is watching, you are creating a new fractal. Right? Because fractals are patterns that repeat themselves over and over and over. So there's power in our micro choices in doing the right thing. I have a mentor, Mary Manon Morrissey. She's a Unity minister, totally awesome. She coached my business partner, Shell, and I for years. And she would remind us that even the tiniest of steps taken consistently will get you up Mount Everest. So those tiny steps you're doing every day, don't believe the lie that they don't matter. Believe the truth. They matter, and you matter. So Liz, myself, Leah, Rumbi, we all took a trip down to Bloomington this week, and we met with all the other staff teams from the area, from the Indiana Unitarian Universalist congregations, and we had an in-service. And you know what we did? We talked about business, but we also rested and played. We took care of ourselves and took care of each other. And we networked. And what I noticed, this is the third time we've met?
Yeah, in Columbus.
Yeah, oh yeah, Columbus, thank you, not Bloomington. Ooh, who's your error? Sorry. Still in New Yorker sometimes, I'm sorry. But yes, we were in Columbus. This is the third time we've met, and we really know each other. Like, regardless of what our positions are, we know each other. And you know what that means? When someone from Bloomington or Columbus or one of the other, many other Indiana congregations, when one of those staff members picks up the phone to call us, we can respond because we have established relationships. And when it's time for us to move together at the State House, if the only minister that can be there is Jenny from Tippecanoe, we have enough staff members who can show up and direct all the other Indiana congregations to meet with Jenny. Because we know what we look like. And we know what to expect from each other. Beloveds, that's power. That is organizing power. I also want to remind you, when we were meeting this week, we were talking about innate goodness, or in the U.S. Buddhist movement, what we call basic goodness. And this is a place where I think we can connect Buddhism to our universalist understanding that we are all born of original blessing. That breath of life that happens to Adama, which means mud person, not man, in case anyone is asking. Mud person. Adam's pronouns are they, them, just like God, just so you know. Although God is also he and she at different points in the book. But I digress. That breath of life, which the word for breath in Greek is also spirit, that breath of life is original blessing. So there is within each of us, theologically speaking, this breath of life, this bit of spirit that is forever moving in, as, through, and around us, that no matter what the world throws at us, is good. And even though stuff may be heaped on it, it cannot change the fact that each of us, every single one of us, is good, inherently. And when we do our justice work, when we continue to nourish the good that is in us and connect with the good in others, we can create change. I'm not saying that we accept nonsense and being treated poorly. No. Being loving also includes strong boundaries, and the word no is a complete sentence. Can we agree on that? All right. But I want you to remember this important piece about your own basic goodness and that of others. And I also want to invite you to consider a little bit about what African American historian Charles Long talks about, which is our highest order of thinking or being, which he named as God, is our ultimate orientation. Now, for Unitarian Universalists, the center of our model, I'm imagining that I'm the atom right now, that atom model of our values, things spinning around me. But the center is love. Love. That is our ultimate orientation. And the values that help bring us back to love and create more love in the world are, and you can say them with me if you remember Jiggle Pet. If not, that's okay. Justice, interdependence, generosity, pluralism, equity, and transformation. So, I'm not saying that we shouldn't have sweary moments where we vent and maybe let out some of the feelings we're having about the people who test our universalism. That is human, right? It's what we do next that matters. If we fall away from love, how we get back matters. And that next best right action defines how we create the new fractal with our micro movements. And are we going to get it right all the time? No. No. We are a covenantal faith. There's a whole lot I can't promise you. I can't promise you that someone will come to save us, but I can promise you that each of us has the power to help us save each other. That's pretty, thank you, because I think it's pretty awesome, and it's why I've stayed at UU, even when things are hard. In accountable relationship, we call on the good in each other. We struggle with hard choices and hard decisions, and we save each other. Now, today, the board is going to lead us in some work around finding ways to stay engaged in the work that is necessary in these times. But we're going to do it in a way that also works for us. I had a spiritual director once who said, "You do not need to sacrifice yourself to fulfill your call." You do not need to sacrifice yourself to fulfill your call. That is super important. We have activists burning out left and right, dangerously high levels of depression in activists. And in a time when it feels like the world is on fire, you can feel like you're not doing enough. I'm going to invite you to not buy into that. This model, which comes from Deepa Iyer's book on social change now, really encourages us each to look at where our gifts are. I would call it, Gay Hendricks has a book called The Big Leap, and Gay Hendricks talks about your area of genius. Now, your area of genius is this thing that you can do and you lose track of time. And you could do it all day. It nourishes you. And it is your expression of gifts in the world. And just because it's easy for you, do not take it for granted. Not everyone can do what you do in the way that you do it. So when I go through these roles, I want you to think about, oh, is that me? Is that like my natural gift? Maybe, possibly. That's called your safety role. It is a role that you can live in and be nourished. And we all need to know what our safety role is. We all also need to know what our target role is. This is our mid-range. This is something that we're probably pretty competent at. Maybe people even rely on us for it. This might be your day job right now for some folks. Like, your day job may be one in teaching or social work or nonprofit in some other way, or in a government organization where you're holding the line. This may be your day job. It's something that you can do really well, and it should not take too much energy from you, but you can do it and do it well. It's going to take energy. Don't get me wrong. It's not like your safety role, but it's not going to crush you and make you pass out at the end of the day. But you are giving at the office. So if that is your main vocation or avocation in that target role, this also means no. That means, beloveds, you're done. Don't do anything that is a stretch role. You only do safety role things that are going to give you energy and give you life. Punto. Period. That's it. Because we want you to survive. Now, stretch roles, these are things that you might do once in a while. You might say yes to. You might serve on a team to do one specific thing periodically, because doing that particular thing takes a lot out of you. I've given the example before that for me, it's singing, right? So public singing, it gets my heart beating, makes my palms sweaty. I get full nervous system reaction. And I know that if I push myself and I do that thing, which I also do love to do, especially with our choir, because it's such a gift, but if I do that thing, I'm gonna need recalibration time. So whatever your stretch thing is, it may seem completely ridiculous to other people, but it's your stretch, so honor that. And only do it once in a while and give yourself some time to recoup afterwards. Now, the roles are on the back of your order of celebration. They're also going to be in the social hall afterwards. And I'll just give you the names real quick. I'll just touch on them. Guides, I used Keith and Ollie as an example as our volunteer coordinators. They are going to counsel and advise how to use gifts of discernment and wisdom. They mentor. Our leadership and nominations committee, they're also guides. Builders are folks who develop, organize, and implement ideas and practices. Caregivers nurture and nourish the people around us. They create and sustain a community of care, joy, and connection. Frontline responders. These are folks who know how to assemble and organize resources. They create and sustain and grow networks. Disruptors. These are our folks out with signs, calling for change. Experimenters are risk takers who are able to course correct really quickly. So for instance, you want an experimenter on a Sunday morning when the AC is out. You want them to figure out what to do next. They can be like, I've got a paper clip and I've got a rubber band. And get me a few more of those, I'm gonna build some fans. These are experimenters. Visionaries generate the boldest possibilities. A lot of your board members are visionaries. Weavers see through the lines of connection between people, places, and organizations, and they bring them together. Healers help us to tend to generational and current traumas. Do you know we have a Reiki group that meets here? Yeah, that's one of the ways that the healers are healing and connecting. And storytellers, they craft and share community stories. They tell through their art, they talk about cultures, experiences, histories, and possibilities. I saw Nasreen yesterday, former staff member who's a brilliant artist. She has a new place that's just 10 minutes away from where I live, and is building this beautiful community in her new place, and she's a fantastic storyteller. So I want to just give you about a minute to think about where your gifts are. What is your safety role, and what is your target role? And actually, we're live, so it'll be more like 30 seconds, but think about that. And maybe write it down, put it in your phone. If you're giving at the office, don't stretch. And we'll spend some more time on this later. That 30 seconds was as if I was doing a wall sit, counting for myself. We all know that personal trainers, their 30 seconds is very different. And there's something else I want to talk about. You all have likely received an email twice from our co-presidents talking about really the system of church and ways in which, as a community, we can think about navigating the gap between the way that parish ministry used to function in the 50s, 60s, and 70s mostly, where we could do really well with generous pledges and the organization would run. We had lots of volunteers. My colleague, the Reverend Dana Edwards, loves to remind us that church was able to run then on pledges and volunteers because we were working pretty much off of the unpaid labor of women who were filling multiple roles for free in community. So that's part of why church worked just off of pledges during that time. Now, there are very few communities that can survive and meet their budget and care for their buildings just off of pledges. We are not unique in that. And this is an incredibly generous community. Can you just give me a "we are generous," please? We are generous. Please believe it in your bones, because you are. We are generous. You are. We just had an extraordinary, legendary capital campaign for a congregation our size, 1.7 million, to get things done that need to be done on this building. That is something to be extraordinarily proud of. And every single staff member here is paid fairly, and we have an extraordinary benefits package, and everyone on staff gets a sabbatical. We are one of the congregations leading our faith in staff equity and compensation. This I can tell you. And that is something for everybody here to be proud of. Our budget is a moral document, and you all consistently make choices in that direction. And it is likely that as a strategy to moving from a pledge-based organization to an organization that has multiple streams of revenue, including increased rentals, and maybe, possibly, partnering with, say, Habitat for some housing on site, maybe, possibly, someday, who knows, but multiple streams of revenue as a method for not just surviving, but thriving. Now, I mentioned last week that, a couple of years ago, we visioned, and one of the things that came up was us being a social justice hub for the community. And you know what? We're doing the work. We're doing the work. There have been so many organizations that have met in our community, even within the last month, and a vendor who is in and out of buildings all the time was so touched by our sign out front, our bienvenidos, and all of the signs internally that protect immigrants and the immigrant community, that they brought someone else in just to see the signs and let them know that they feel safe here. That's your all's ministry. That's your ministry. That is what we are building, and that's worth doing hard things for. So, there may be staff cuts. And I know that's hard. One of those cuts is potentially me going 3/4 time. This is not because of a lack of generosity. And this is a strategy. This is what? It is a strategy, exactly, to build additional streams of income. So I will say to you, and from the highest mountaintop, if someone can get me there without too much heights being involved, because I don't do heights, I am tremendously grateful for this community. I am the first woman in my family to be paid fairly. No questions asked, no degrading negotiations, just this is the right thing to do. Wow. Wow, thank you. And I share that with my nieces so they know that there are places they can go where they will be paid the equivalent of a white male with their level of experience. Huge. And I know that when we are pulling in the same direction, we can move mountains. So, if this is what we need to do, let's move some mountains so that in 2 years, this community is thriving, so that we can continue to help the other communities who are not diving into the challenge directly and fiercely, and show them that it can be done. I'm here for it. Are you? Okay. And you know what? There are some teams that are a part of this strategy that are particularly helpful. AV, building and maintenance, because if I am at 3/4 time, I can promise you my focus will be worship, staff, pastoral care, and some community work, but not the building. And the board can't do it. They can't hold all that. And our building and maintenance team, they're busy already. I mean, 11 o'clock calls, thank you, Phil, with the wrench standing in water. Hallelujah. Stewardship and fundraising. These are two teams, these are two committees, truly, that we want to pay particular attention to today. Bring your gifts there. Governance. really important committee. Somebody here loves governance, loves to talk about. I'm so emotional about it, I could only think in Spanish. I'm thinking reglas. Somebody help me out. Reglas. Rules. Thank you. Somebody loves to talk about rules. They love to talk about systems and things that we can put in place so that people are protected and have a safe container to do the hard things. We're going to be looking for board roles. And we could really use a couple of more worship associates. So those are some teams, I know for sure, teams and committees that we really want to build in this strategy. And my invitation to you today is not to build from anything other than joy. You know, the board cast a vision a few years ago that this would be a place that shined, that people would come here every week, get filled up with joy, and then go out into the world and share more, and we're doing that. And I'd love for us to keep doing that. So when we go to enjoy food and to meet with the board, my invitation to you is to enthusiastically choose your safety role and choose a target role. And if you have the bandwidth and the energy, choose a stretch role. But only if you can, and only if it gives you joy. And only if you will have time to rest, because joy and rest are resistance. Now, I have talked way too long, y'all, and I'm really present to that. And we have an incredible guest from Habitat for Humanity, which is our Share the Plate today. And I want to give Abby a chance to speak. Now, Abby and the team, come on up, Abby. Abby and the team came just to hang out with Leah and I. Hi there, Leah's here. And we got to know each other, and the joy, and if you just want to be about this far, if it beeps at you, move closer. I know it's counterintuitive, but it's real. So we got together to meet, to get to know each other, and I will tell you that the energy of the Habitat folks is like infectious in the very best of ways. Like, they are doing such incredible work. It is a joy to be partnering with them, and Abby's going to talk about ways that you can be a part too. So I'm going to give it up to Abby.
Yeah. Thanks, Rep. Katie.
You're welcome.
I just want to say thank you to you all. This has been a really beautiful hour for me. I feel so welcomed and honored, and can just feel the love and support from your community. So that means a lot. I really appreciate that. Like she said, my name is Abby. I work for Habitat for Humanity in Greater Indy. And so some of you might have heard of Habitat before. We mostly locally build new construction houses for people that wouldn't be able to afford a home, to purchase a home if they went to a place somewhere else. Usually I say Chase Bank, but I'm realizing I should probably not call out a specific bank. Not a good idea. So just, Main Street Bank, USA, whatever. So yeah, and I'm here today because specifically would love to answer any questions you guys have about the work that we're doing in the community, but also because we're entering into this really fun, exciting partnership. Habitat has traditionally built what we call infill lots, where they're kind of like in existing neighborhoods, one-off, we're just fitting things in. But our first ever development, so it's gonna be like a Habitat neighborhood, is going in at 46 in Millersville, so just down the road from here. It's 10 homes. You can drive by. I think the foundations went in. I was on vacation last week, so I'm gonna drive by after this to go see. But we kick off beginning of May, and those 10 homes will be completed by mid-2027. And so we have 10 families that will move into those homes. Most have already completed or will complete this year our first-time home ownership program. It's kind of actually really cool. We have a lot of families that are immigrant families that have chosen these addresses and are purchasing these homes. So there's a lot of kids. I can't remember what countries they're from, but they are going to be living in those houses and kind of have this little community of support as well. And so part of I should have led with this too. I'm the volunteer coordinator, so part of my job of helping Habitat people come to volunteer and help build the homes was figuring out how to get them to the build site. And there was a lot of issues with figuring that out, and so I reached out and said, we need a parking lot, and Leah said, great, come figure it out, we'll figure it out. So from May all the way through November, there will be Habitat volunteer cars being parked and utilizing your parking lot, and then we rented a shuttle bus and are shuttling them down to the build site. So it's been a whole logistical thing, but we are I feel so at peace knowing that I kind of think as all the volunteers as like my little children, even though most of them are not that young. And I feel so at peace knowing that they're going to become and arrive as part of their Habitat experience at a place like this, even if it's just in the parking lot. So that's kind of our initial, very, very small but very important partnership. And we hope to continue to grow that. So, yeah, I'll be out in the social hall after service and would love to chat with anyone about that project specifically or anything, ways you can get involved, any of that. So, thank you, really. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
was so awesome. I leave you today with these words by the Reverend Dr. Hope Johnson. We are one, a diverse group of proudly kindred spirits here not by coincidence, but because we choose to journey together. We are active and proactive. We care deeply. We live our love as best we can. We are one. Working, eating, laughing, playing, singing, storytelling, sharing, and rejoicing. Getting to know each other. Taking risks. Opening up, questioning, seeking, searching, trying to understand, struggling, making mistakes, paying attention, asking questions, listening, living our answers, learning to love our neighbors and learning to love ourselves, apologizing and forgiving with humility, being forgiven through grace, creating the beloved community together. We are one. Amen. Que así sea.
Please rise as you're able in body or spirit, and we'll sing hymn number 1024 from the Teal Hymnal. And we're going to do what the Spirit says do, sing when the Spirit says sing, and shout when the Spirit says shout.
Finish up with do again.
And finish up with do again. Do when the Spirit says do. You gotta do when the Spirit says do. When the Spirit says do, you gotta do, oh Lord. You gotta do when the Spirit says do. 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 You gotta sing when the Spirit says sing. You gotta sing when the Spirit says sing. When the Spirit says sing, you gotta sing, oh Lord. You gotta sing when the Spirit says sing. 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 You gotta shout when the Spirit says shout. You gotta shout when the Spirit says shout. When the Spirit says shout, you gotta shout, oh Lord. You gotta shout when the Spirit says shout. 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 You gotta do when the Spirit says do. You gotta do when the Spirit says do. When the Spirit says do,